As we celebrated the new year just 3 short months ago, we could hardly have predicted how quickly our lives were about to change. The source of the coronavirus, now commonly referred to as Covid-19, is thought to have started in a live animal market in Wuhan, China. These kind of markets are ideal breeding grounds for viruses, particularly the kind that have the ability to jump from animals to humans. The poor hygiene standards, with animals being butchered on site, just compounds the problem. From which animal the Covid-19 came from has yet to be determined, but it is thought to have originated from bats. These infected bats could have passed the virus on to chickens or other animals that were sold at the Wuhan market. Since the virus first emerged at the beginning of the year, it has spread to nearly every country in the world. Currently, more than 615,000 people are known to be infected and 28,000 deaths have been recorded, including 1,019 in the UK and currently 108 in Turkey. The total number of cases in Turkey now stands at around 7,400. It is pure speculation as to how bad it could get. No one really knows how big the pandemic could be. The disease has already taken hold in Europe, the United States and Southeast Asia, and it's spreading in Africa and South America. Covid-19 is related to SARS, the virus which caused havoc in 2002 and 2003. It died out much more easily than Covid-19 will die out, because Covid-19 is not so easy to control, but the respiratory problems and risk of pneumonia that comes with it are already proving fatal to those at risk, and even in some cases to healthy individuals. So with countries on lockdown, what can we expect? Many large cities have seen panic buying, hospitals overflowing, and a variety of decrees by governments trying to halt the spread of the disease so that the medical profession can cope with the numbers affected. Whilst many people will only experience mild flu symptoms, around 20% of Covid-19 cases could be severe, and the current death rate is estimated to be between 1 and 3.5%. The numbers are huge. Here in Turkey, the government has announced a series of measures designed to slow the virus. Schools have been closed and lessons are now beamed across the country by television. All sports events and large gatherings have been cancelled. All unnecessary shops, including restaurants, cafes, clubs, bars and shopping malls, have been instructed to close until further notice, and senior citizens over the age of 65 have been ordered to stay indoors, with the threat of fines if they do not comply. The authorities have set up roadblocks to check who is travelling and why they're travelling, and the gendarme, rural police units, are deployed to the villages to make sure that places remain closed and that the elderly stay indoors. The damage to industry, tourism and the economy in general is pretty much the same here as it is in Europe. While supermarkets and marketplaces, petrol stations and pharmacists remain open, the streets are very quiet and the towns and villages have an eerie atmosphere about them. We ventured out once this week to do some shopping, and there was no sign of the panic buying experienced by others. Our supermarket was nearly empty at a time when it normally would have been busy. There was no shortage of food either. The Turkish people are doing a great job of keep calm and carry on. There are many who wear face masks and surgical gloves, but other than that, there is no shortage of food or fuel. Today we hear that the government has now ordered the first lockdown in 12 locations in the Black Sea provinces of Rize and Trabzon. The curfew will commence tomorrow in some of the towns and villages most affected. Essentially, residents will be banned from leaving their homes except for emergencies and until further notice. All non-essential businesses are to shut down, and there will be strict controls in place to make sure that people abide by the rules. Part of the problem in this particular region is that a large group of pilgrims were returning from Saudi Arabia to Rize. They entered the country with no health checks. In recent weeks, to an area that has a large number of Arab tourists and people from Arab countries who have made their homes here and become semi-permanent residents. Even the road signs and shop displays are in Arabic and Turkish, a clear indication as to the numbers involved. This strict curfew gives us an insight as to the alarming speed with which this virus can spread. Moving between cities will also be forbidden from tomorrow. Parks and recreational centres will be closed to the public, and even jogging and fishing are to be banned. The country has shut down all international flights for an indefinite period, and even domestic transportation between cities is now subject to permission from local authorities. The land borders of Turkey have all but closed. So far, in Turkey, more than 210,000 private businesses have been shut down. Tourism, an important part of the economy of the nation, is now in trouble, and the already fragile economy is subject to even more upheaval for an unexpected and unpredictable period of time. As our cities and towns go quiet, the pollution clears, and the birds and animals breathe more easily. Is our human existence flawed and in jeopardy as a result of our own foolishness? As satellite images show, once foggy cities are now free from smog, and we have to ask ourselves, has it all been worth it? How selfish have we all been? And where do we go from here? Perhaps in these difficult times, businesses will adapt and find new ways to function. Old jobs might change in their roles and application as we struggle to come to terms with what is happening around us. So what do we do now? We sit tight and follow the advice given by our governments. There will always be people who will bend the rules. There will be many who think that they are invincible and that this virus will not affect them. I had to smile as one of the village chiefs in Sivas put out an announcement of the tannoy to his village. He was clearly exasperated with people not listening to the advice given. Let's take a moment to listen to that.
Duyuru. Arpacı köyüne duyurulur. Ya arkadaşlar 2 gündür söylüyor. Kimse sokağa çıkmasın diyor. Yine millet bildiğini okuyor. Sağlık Bakanlığı diyor dışarı çıkma, siz yine dışarıdasınız. Vallahi jandarma dolaşıyor, toplayacak haberiniz olsun. Ondan sonra muhtar gel beni karakoldan al deme. Vallahi gelmem, ne derseniz dedin, yeter ya.
Wherever you live in the world, it's now time to look after your friends and relatives and the wider community. Don't put them at risk. Stay at home and act responsibly, and do your bit to make sure that you're looking after yourself too. Covid-19 is a killer. Lots of people are going to die. As hospitals struggle to cope, we must respect the advice given and the efforts made by our professional services. They're there to protect us and care for us when things go wrong. Make sure that you do everything that you can to ensure that you and yours are not put at risk. Stay safe. If you found this video interesting, please take the time to give us the thumbs up or even subscribe. And if you're sat at home bored, then take a look at some of our other videos from Çanakkale in Turkey. Thanks for watching.